welcome back to In the Air on CricTracker with me, Nivedna Prabhu. I hope all of you are doing well and a very good morning to all of you joining us today. उसी के साथ बुला लेते हैं प्रत्यय तिवारी joining us back in the studios. उनके हिसाब से क्या होगा on day 5? Is it going to be India's time to win this one or New Zealand? प्रत्यय सबसे पहले, what did you think of India's performance so far? I think Ashwin did, have a great start. Do you think he'd be able to get a few more wickets, or do you think once there is some sort of momentum from New Zealand batters, this could potentially go into their hands?
See, if you talk about Ashwin, he I think is a man who can do absolutely no wrong at this time with the ball, with the bat. He has done everything, and I think that yes, on this track, 5वें दिन का track है और spinners को हम पूरे टेस्ट मैच में देखते ही आए हैं, आपकी मदद मिली है और this is the conditions that he thrives in. So I think that yes, he will be a very big threat. Speaking of whether New Zealand can chase it, see, I think it's very difficult because 280 runs in 90 overs, it's scoring close to what 3 runs and over, and this test match throughout the course of it, we have not seen runs being scored that quickly. I understand that 3 is probably not too quick, but by this test standard, I think that's going to be very tough. So I think spinners have a job definitely, but New Zealand would be at best right at this point of time. They would not be thinking too much of the chase because then you can maybe lose too many wickets and you can go on to lose the match. Right now, the best approach for them would be trying to save it and maybe try and play 90 overs and draw the game. That is the best bet for them right now.
Okay. Is it interesting that, when you look at the New Zealand bowling lineup, it's actually the, fast bowlers who have managed to do well rather than the spinners. But when it comes to the India bowling lineup, it's quite interesting. Or do you say probably it's also because of the pitch conditions? How do you view that?
See, I think it's strange, definitely, because if you talk about the Indian spinners, they have been amongst the wickets. Indian pacers have not been able to take that many wickets. But if you talk
Yeah.
about the New Zealand bowlers, none amongst their spinners have looked as threatening, even half as threatening as probably Indian spinners have. And there you are seeing Kyle Jamieson doing wonders with the ball. You're seeing Tim Southee doing what he is known to do the best. So
Yeah.
yes, it's a little bit strange, of course, to see that. But I think that yes, the New Zealand spinners have lacked that kind of bite, maybe to take the wickets. And of course, when you talk about Indian players, Indian batsmen, they have been playing not only on these tracks, but they are definitely one of the best players of spin. So I think that Indian players, Indian batters have also shown a lot of application while tackling those spinners. And of course, they have not been able to bring their A game up. So I think that is the reason that you're seeing, despite this not being as pace conducive a track that you never actually even see in India, Tim Southee and Kyle Jamieson doing that. But I think now on the 5th day track, the most of responsibility is going to be on the spinners trio of Akshar Patel, Jadeja, and Ashwin. So I think that
Okay.
bulk of wicket taking is to be done by them today because already see the bounce has been varying right from the very start. This is the 5th day track. Because of the cold weather, maybe the cracks haven't opened up as much as you would say you would expect otherwise in India or maybe in the summers. But still, this is the 5th day track, and it's going to be very difficult. If they have to chase, if they have to pull this off, New Zealand will have to bat out of their skin. And I think that not just out of their skin, but even out of their way, because as I said, 3 runs and over in this particular day on this track against these kind of bowlers, the odds are definitely not against them. Definitely not in favor of them.
Okay, so according to Pratyay, of course, Jadeja, Ashwin, and Aksar, pata nahi if he's going to, come and get another 5 wicket haul. We'll have to wait and watch. They will have to do the trick for India, but on the other hand, for New Zealand, might not be easy. आप सबको क्या लगता है with Pratyay's opinion? Tell me that in the comment section. Let's take a quick look at the summary of where things, stood for both the teams last evening. यहाँ पे 4 for 1, like we spoke. I think that breakthrough was very important because I think in the first inning, somebody that definitely gave New Zealand that momentum had to be the partnership between Latham and Will Young. But Pratay, let's talk a little bit about all the hoo-ha and the conversation going around the umpiring decisions. Aapka kya opinion hai? We did speak about this last evening on our show, but we didn't have you. So you give me your opinion in terms of how do you view it when such conversations happen?
See, as I said, even a couple of days ago when we were having a discussion because Virender Sharma had got a lot of decisions overturned, I said that, see, like players, even umpires have to perform in a game. And it's a very, very unforgiving job because if you're talking about an umpire, see, if he gives the correct decision, probably no one is going to pat his back that, yes, well done. But if he gives the wrong decision, everyone, right from the viewers to the batter to everyone, they're going to
Yeah.
just kind of run against them. So yes, it's not been definitely a match that would be remembered for umpiring standards, because of course you've seen so many decisions being overturned, and even yesterday, as you very rightly pointed out, that yes, India would be very happy that they got the wicket of Will Young, because he was a thorn in their flesh in the first innings, and if he would have
Yeah.
been right now probably 4 for 1 and 4 for none, it does not make a huge difference. You have to take 10, you have to now take 9, but still, having gotten him back in the hut is definitely going to give them a little bit of a boost going into day 5. But if you talk about that ball, even Will Young missing the trick, probably, the DRS time were running out, him not being able to take a review. So that was, of course, a mistake on his part. But you have to understand that Virender Sharma, he's an Indian umpire, of course. So, I mean, the amount of turn that ball took, even as a viewer, of course, we are not authorized to be making comments on how umpiring is done, because we have no idea about how it's done. But still, if you
Yeah.
have to see the way it was, the amount of turn that was on that ball, usually as far as I have seen umpires, they always have that much doubt, because when it turns too much, you probably do not think that probably the LBW, and considering where it pitched. So I think it was a little bit strange, but this was again not the first time. So definitely not a match to remember for umpire Virendra Sharma. Definitely this one.
Right, because one of our guests on the show, Gauri, was talking about the fact that, in her opinion, if ICC is doing so much to be keeping all these events, probably it's time to look at neutral umpiring. Otherwise, it looks very biased in nature. So, all of you tell me in the comment section, what do you think about that? Dusri taraf, we will talk a little more about India's strategy. But before that, let's take a quick look at what is the conversation like on social tracker. What are people really discussing and tweeting? Wahan pe, let's take a look and find out what Pratay also has to say. Yahan pe, so India need 9 wickets to win the first test with Ashwin, Aksar, and Jadeja. Then India need to count. No visiting team successfully chased more than 276 in the fourth inning, 60-40 in the favor of India. Spare a thought for Tim Southee and Kyle Jamieson on a spinner's pitch. Only these two have looked capable of taking a wicket for New Zealand. Ashwin and Harbhajan are now equal with 417 test wickets. Brilliant match winners, both Harbhajan and Ashwin. Okay, so the first 2 points we've already, kind of discussed. But, we were talking about Ashwin being such a smart cricketer, such an intelligent cricketer. Are you a fan of Ashwin, and what do you think really makes him stand out from other cricketers, according to you?
See, whether you are a fan of Ashwin or not, he is someone, you cannot love him or hate him. He is someone who will definitely do something or the other to just kind of grab the spotlight. Because even I think on the fourth or the third day, there was this issue of him with umpire Nitin Menon, him having a diagonal run up. So I mean, and someone I remember tweeted, "Trust Ashwin to give a conundrum for even the umpires," and that
Yeah,
is what he is like. That is what he is like. I mean, whenever he is around, you will get to see something new, whether it's on the field, whether it's off the field, and definitely a very intelligent cricketer. Because if you see the amount of variations he has and the amount of hard work he puts in, because
yeah,
yes, he's a spinner in Indian conditions, the bulk of his wickets have come in India, but again, being a spinner in India does not take away the fact that you have to work very hard as well. You have to bowl a lot of overs, which he does day in, day out. Even in the previous innings, he bowled close to what 40, 45 overs, and that is a lot of work. And he's not someone who, he's of course very fit, but he's not someone who's a young lad. So I think that what makes him stand out is his ability to just because even in the first innings, if you see his ability to not get bogged down under pressure, because Akshar Patel was getting the wickets. He was not getting as many as you would have expected him to take, but he was not ruffled by that fact. He was not worried about that fact that I'm not getting wickets. So his ability to first of all soak the pressure, and even in the England series, he had to sit on the bench for the entire series, all 4 Test
right.
matches.
And I
Yet,
think
but
people are still trying to fathom how that decision surely,
absolutely,
took
absolutely.
place. But
Because
I
I
think
think that
yeah,
yeah, I think
go ahead.
that if in the England series he would have played, I think he would have crossed Harbhajan definitely by that time already. He would have
Yeah.
already done that. In 4 Test matches, I'm expecting probably not something like a 30, 35 wickets from him, because it was England, but still, at least you would expect some 12 to 15 wickets from him. So he would have done that. But yes, he is someone who takes it in his stride, and he is showing it right now. Whenever the opportunity comes, he has stepped up, and he's doing exactly the same right now.
Then with that, considering we also spoke about him being benched and we didn't understand Virat Kohli's decision then, I do see a couple of comments coming in. I'm going to take that quickly. But before that, I want to ask you, with now Kohli coming in to the second test, as captain, we do still see a spot for Ashwin, right?
Definitely, yes. I mean, there's no chance you're going to sit him out. And definitely on that, Dust Bowl kind of a track of Mumbai, red soil. I don't know what kind of soil would be used, but yes, Mumbai and Ashwin, they have to, I mean, you can definitely not be sitting a spinner out. It's going to be a very, very tough call who to kind of drop, who not to. But the last time we were discussing this thing, Iyer had only scored a century. Now, when we are talking about it, he has also backed it up with a half century.
Half
There's
century.
no chance. There's no chance you would want to sit him out because
You
if he
know,
is sat
because there
out,
is a question coming in for you saying, should India drop Mayank Agarwal instead of Rahane? And the other question being, has Jadeja improved more as a batter and not taking a lot of wickets? So probably keeping all these pointers in mind, what kind of strategy do you see them, do for the second test then?
see, the thing is, whenever you're talking about dropping a player, you would want to drop probably the weakest link of yours.
Hmm.
Because Ravindra Jadeja, there's nothing that the guy has done wrong that you would want to drop him or even rest him for that matter. If at all something was to be done, probably what could have been done is what has been done to Jasprit Bumrah or say a Mohammad Shami or a Rishabh Pant. You rest him. Otherwise, if he's in the squad, Ravindra Jadeja is this. I mean, apart from a niggle, apart from an injury, there is no reason that you would want to sit Ravindra Jadeja out. As is the even
Right.
case for Mayank Agarwal. I understand that he has not gotten the runs. Still, he has got a chance in second innings. But apart from that, if you talk, there's no reason why you would definitely want to because see Mayank Agarwal, anyways, he's playing straight after that historic game that India played and won in Brisbane. After that, he had to miss the England series at home. Then he had to miss the Pataudi Trophy because of the injury. That is when KL Rahul came in and scored all the runs. Now he is injured, so Mayank Agarwal gets a chance. But the thing is that there's no reason why you would want to Mayank Agarwal. You would want to drop Mayank Agarwal. The weakest link right now, as hard as it is to accept and confess, it is right
Is
now
Rahane.
Ajinkya Rahane. So I think that if you drop Iyer, what do you even have to say to him? I mean, you've scored a century, you've scored a half century in your debut game. If
Yeah.
this cannot ascertain you a place in the side, then what can? That is the question.
Right.
So I think that definitely he has to be played in. And Ajinkya Rahane is unfortunately the only person I see can make way for Kohli right now.
Okay, Niharika, a very good morning to you. Another question: why selectors not included Vihari for this series? Well, all of us are still trying to, understand what that strategy was. We did discuss the same last evening as well. But coming back to day five, according to Pratyay, of course, India is going to win this one. Let's wait and watch if that's going to happen or not going to happen. But we will be back to discuss the result of day five and ultimately the first test match between India and New Zealand happening in Kanpur. Don't forget to join us on In the Air once again on CricTracker.